Do you know what your music is communicating? What's going on, everybody? This is Jay Myrax of ultrawest.com, and today I want to talk a bit about messages in music and the way our music communicates our ideas and thoughts to the listener. So I got inspired today after just talking with an artist about their music and just thinking about the lyrics and the messages that they had in the music. And the lyrics and the message that I heard in some of the music I was listening to from the artist was interesting, and it was also disturbing in a way, because what I was hearing was, it was just a lot of the same old typical, I'm on lean, I'm drinking, I'm smoking, like the weed got me a certain way, the drugs got me a certain way, the liquor got me doing this. Very typical stuff that you hear a lot of rappers and artists talk about. And I thought about it and I was like, okay, well, I understand that might be a part of your life, that might be your reality. And that's fine if that's your reality. That's something else to address at a different point, because I think even if something is your reality, you have to be careful with how you communicate that to the rest of the world. But when I was listening to the artist, I was just thinking, well, even if that is your reality, there are so many other rappers, singers, producers that have that same idea that they want to put out as far as drinking and smoking goes. And I think whatever your message is, you still have to effectively communicate your message so that it is profound and unique in the way that it comes across. Now, personally, I feel like if drugs and alcohol are your reality, you have to talk about that from a realistic standpoint. It can't be that it's only a glorified thing, because the reality of like drugs and alcohol, for example, is that there's a lot of people that are in pain and suffering because of drugs and alcohol. So like you can't talk about a subject such as drugs and alcohol without also discussing the consequences of that behavior and lifestyle. And this is something that was pretty typical in early gangster rap music as well. Like if you listen to artists such as Ice-T, that's very old school, but Ice-T always had a sense of consequence in his raps about the gangster lifestyle. It wasn't that gang banging was this glorified thing that was only cool and positive for him because it allowed him to make money and have control. He also discussed the outcome. The outcome is that you could potentially land up in jail or potentially be dead. That's the same reason why a lot of people like artists like Tupac, for example. Because Tupac, even though he rapped about a lot of things that would be considered deviant behavior, he had a lot of women and drugs and alcohol and stuff in his music, but he always had a sense of reality and consequence in the music. And it's really important that when you talk about things that are real to you, that you can look at the full spectrum of what those things mean to other people, so that you don't communicate something that is a falsified perception of reality or a glorification of a deviant behavior. Because it can sound really cool to talk about, your lifestyle choices, whether, if you like having a lot of women around, and, you can talk about that, but then the thing about it is, what's the consequence of having a lot of women? It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of, worrying about somebody else might do you dirty or shady, or, you got other situations where you might have a lot of women and some of the women that you're dealing with are dealing with other people. So that's another potential conflict. whatever it is you're talking about, you have to, first of all, be true and realistic. You can't just be putting out information that doesn't serve people to be able to see the truth. And I think that's very important for young artists and older artists to understand. We can't just continue to talk about the lifestyle from the perspective that makes our lifestyle and the things that we value cool to people. Because if it's only about it being cool, then you'll skew the view that people are able to have over it, because you're not going to talk about the realities of consequences and potential issues. So, that's one part of what I wanted to discuss today, was that, we just have to be careful with how we communicate our thoughts and ideas. But also, in talking about this whole messaging, like, okay, you're talking about certain topics and ideas. Now, message alone is not the most important aspect of our music. Message is one important aspect of it. But, if message was the most important thing, then all the rappers that had like the most positive or most informed and conscious messages, those would be the best rappers out, and they would have the most fan base, and that would be like the best thing ever to listen to. But there's plenty of rappers that have great positive content and messages, but they don't have effectiveness with their music. And in general, the effectiveness of your music is not really defined only by the content, but more so it's driven by the emotional impact that the music and the lyrics and all the things that combine into the music create. Because the emotional impact is what makes it memorable. Even for music producers, beat makers, when you're making your track, you have to make sure that your music has a thoughtful consideration of the emotional journey and the emotional impact that you're going to take the listener through as they are listening to the music. Otherwise, you'll come up with things that fall flat, because you might have like dope drums or, dope melodies, and they don't really take you anywhere, or because you don't have a vision for what the emotional impact is, you don't know how to push the lyrics in a direction that also fits in alignment with the emotional intention of the song. And, emotion for a music producer in general is going to be very important, because the emotional impact and the emotional direction is going to influence so many of the choices and decisions that we make, such as the sound selection and the sound quality and the rhythmic selection, and all the things that go into making a track are defined by the emotional intention of the music. And it's very important that we consider that aspect as well, because when you can pair a great, well thought out emotional journey with great lyrics that are well crafted, great melodies that are well determined and thought out, then you can really have music that is fully effective and will last or stand the test of time. And I think that's what we're all aiming for at the end of the day, is to make really great music that stands out. So, that being said, I want to tell everybody, I recently finished my ebook called The Sound Mind. And The Sound Mind is the ebook that I've been writing for the past year that is addressing the top questions that I receive from music producers and sound designers about the craft of audio production. So we touch on topics such as music theory, sound design, beat making, music production in general, and it's answering a lot of the questions that these producers had. And in the first chapter of my book, I actually touch very deeply on the topic of emotional intention and the importance of having a proper, well thought out emotional experience for the listener, and how that can create the elements and influence the ingredients that you put into the music to have a bolder impact on the audience. So what I wanted to do is give that to everybody, all my subscribers and everybody else that may be viewing this. I want to allow everybody to download the first chapter of my ebook, The Sound Mind, for free. So I'm going to leave a link in the video description. There's going to be a link on the screen as well. Click on any of those links and you'll be taken to a site where you can sign up to receive the first chapter of my ebook, The Sound Mind, for free, so that you can get in and start using and applying those tools and techniques into your own music production to make better tracks. Anyhow, I just wanted to share those thoughts with y'all, and we're just going to continue to talk about music production and sound design and many other things related to those topics in the future. All right, but go ahead and click on one of the links in the description or on the screen, and I'm going to get you that first chapter so y'all can start just going forth and, doing great stuff. All right, until next time, peace and God bless.